What is up, guys? NBA season is here. It starts in less than an hour. I'm going to give you my Eastern Conference season predictions of what I think is going to wind up happening in the East. I got the Orlando gear on, I'm going to have Orlando gear on almost every episode from here on out. I got so many t-shirts and jackets and everything. This is the 25th anniversary t-shirt, the season opening game that I was at. Tomorrow night, I'll be at the Orlando Magic season opener for their 35th anniversary. I'm looking forward to this game a lot. Cannot wait. Go Magic. Go Blue, baby. All right. So, let's get this episode going. So, as you can see, I have three columns. I got the lottery picks. I got the play-in tournament, which is seed 7th to 10th. They play 2 extra games. And then the winners of these 4 teams over here become the 7th and 8th seed. The 7th seed plays the 8th seed. The winner of that becomes the 7th seed in the playoffs. And then the 8th seed plays the winner of the 9th and 10th. And then that winner becomes the 8th seed in the NBA playoffs. So I'm going to give you my takes on who I think is going to finish where and why. So let's get started. At number 15, okay, and I say this with all gratitude, Washington Wizards, I have them going 20. Washington Wizards at 27 and 55. So, I got the Wizards coming at the 15th seed. Washington, they have no bench depth and are in rebuild mode. They let go of Bradley Beal. Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole are the face of this franchise, and they most likely will have a tough year with their workload. David Abdia is the one player for me to watch this season. He just got a contract extension, but overall, this is a very young team going into a rebuild around Jordan Poole. And also, Daniel Gafford is not a winning team big man. He's their starting big man, and they just have no depth at that position here. Okay? So, to my 14th seed, okay, I got the Charlotte Hornets finishing 29 and 53. I like LaMelo Ball a lot. I do. But this team is a complete mess. I mean, Miles Bridges has been arrested twice. Kai Jones was released. He looks like he has some psychological issues going on in his head. Young players that are promising, they're ruining their careers. MJ sold his share of the team. LaMelo, even though I love him, is an injury liability, despite him turning into a future All-Star caliber player. And then we go to Brendan Miller, the draft pick this year. He's a very promising and I think is a top 5 to 7 rookie this year. And this is another young team that are still rebuilding, in the middle of a rebuild. Gordon Hayward, Terry Rozier are the vets, but Miles being gone is huge. Missing him will be the difference between being in contention for a play-in spot. This team needs 2 to 3 more years at least to be even close to the playoffs, okay? Going to my 13th seed, I got the Detroit Pistons coming in at 31 and 51. Okay, I got the Detroit Pistons, okay? Big question on if Cade will be anything at all. And last year, tanking efforts got them only the 5th pick in the draft because of the way that the NBA has now narrowed down the draft lottery. They made it more equal so teams don't tank. They added the play-in tournament so teams do not tank. And the Pistons still filled their tank effort last year. And I do think that their draft pick, Ausar Thompson, will be a star this year. But again, just another team that is very, very young and they don't really have any firepower besides Joe Harris and Bojan Marjanovic. Great young team, but with players like Julian Hayes, Livers, Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren, which I love. But again, just way too young to have it all together and still need a big, which they don't have. Very, very promising team in the future, though, if they get a big and if they get some more star caliber player and some firepower as well. So, Pistons come in at the 13th seed. They got to go through the draft again. All right, going to my 12th seed. Now, this team I might have a little bit lower than expectations, but I got the Brooklyn Nets coming in at the 12th seed this year. They are going to be 34 and 48, in my opinion. This team is in the peak of rebuild, and the front office just hasn't figured it out with losing the big three last year that fell apart. And Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden. Ben Simmons needs to prove himself again. Looks good in preseason, but that doesn't mean much. Miles Bridges is the heart and soul of this team. He is making himself to be a real big name for this team. Spencer Dinwiddie as well. Expected them to have a good start to the season, kind of, get their high hopes up. Their lack of depth will have an impact towards the playoff push, especially at the center position. All they have is Nick Claxton. They are figuring it out, but slowly. They also have promising young players in Cam Thomas, Cam Johnson, and Lonnie Walker, which I love. Brooklyn Nets will be in playing contention this year, but they're going to fall a few games short. Going to my next team. This team is expected to be in the play-in at least this year, but I just don't think so yet. I got the Indiana Pacers finishing 38 and 44. That's an ugly 3. Okay, I got them finishing 38 and 44. A team that has such high hope in Tyrese Halliburton. He is the future of this team. And Brandon Mandarin. 2 players who are purely just amazing kids and players. With Miles Turner being questioned to be moved in trades in the last 3 years, the team is missing depth at the center and power forward position. I think the additions of Bruce Brown and Obi Toppin will help this team win games, but they are one step away from a deep playoff push and potentially make some noise. They need just one more year, and I think next year they will emerge in the East. So, Indiana Pacers, I'm sorry, but I have you guys going at the top of the lottery. Well, at the bottom of the lottery, I should say. But, we'll see what happens with you guys. All right, now going to my playing teams. I get it, y'all gonna come at me about this one, but at 10th seed, I got the Miami Heat. Okay, and they're gonna finish 40 and 42. Okay, Jimmy Butler is not an in-season player, and he just doesn't have any help except Bam Adebayo. They will not do what they did last year. Okay, they're not going to the finals, and they will end up losing this time in the play-in tournament. Yes, Miami is good at turning nobody players into somebodies, and to me, Miami is a 8th seed to 10th seed this year again. But with them being young and Kyle Lowry not being so reliable anymore, Jimmy is simply by himself. He can't get it. He cannot do it all for 82 games to get them to the playoffs. Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo are his best bets in that aspect of it. But the rest are just a bunch of young players looking to find their way in the NBA. However, their draft pick this year, Jamie Jacquez Jr., will be a key for them moving forward. His potential is out of the roof. Miami war heartbroken with Dame not ending up in South Beach and not being able to trade for him. That's going to come back and hurt them. They're lacking depth at the point guard, and they can still make a move. James Harden's out there, right? But I don't think that they're going to do it. They're just going to go through the draft and turn their young players into potential superstars. Going to my 9th seed, I got the Toronto Raptors. Okay, I got them finishing 41 and 41. Okay, average year for them this year. Man, I cannot write my fours right. Other than Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam, and OG Anunoby, this team struggles to win games consistently. And again, another team who is young at their depth but still lacks it. Like the Pacers, they are nearing a end of the rebuild post Kawhi, and I think once these young players emerge, they will be top 6 again in the East. I think they win through the play-in and get the 8th seed this year, but also losing Nick Nurse, coaching will be a huge factor for this team. Another factor is how will Dennis Schroeder be this year? Can he elevate them further than I'm putting him? I love Dennis Schroeder. He's a world champion this year in the FIBA World Cup this past summer. So let's see what Dennis Schroeder could do. But Toronto is just one player away from being in this area. Okay. Going to my 8th seed, I got the Atlanta Hawks. Okay. And I got them finishing 44-38. So, Trae Young is the man in the A without a doubt, but they don't have anything at the center position. Clint Capella isn't the guy. They have some amazing young players in like Bogdan Marjanovic, Sadiq Bey, DeAndre Hunter, DeJounte Murray, Kobe Buffkin is going to be nice. They can definitely be a top team in the East, but problem is injuries eat this team alive, and I don't see a way they can get past that this year. This could also be Trae's last run in the A. The frustration for him lingers. Time is running out for him in his brain. So Atlanta Hawks come in at the 8th seed this year. 7th seed, Chicago Bulls. Okay, and I got them finishing 45-37. Now, you know, the Bulls are respectable, but let me say why. This is hard to say, but the Bulls just seem to struggle to win games, to win close games. Despite Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan, they just struggle. Things do look up for them as Kobe White and Dosunmu look like promising point guards in the league, but this team is getting older quicker than younger, and Lonzo is out another year. He has not played for 3 years. This will just add on to the pain, and by the time he returns, the stars of this team could end up leaving. Expect them to be a trade deadline team, and the stars of this team to leave at least by next summer. But the Bulls, I got them losing in the play-in. I got the Hawks and the Raptors advancing through the play-in this year. Bulls, it's going to come down between the Bulls and the Raptors, I think. But I think the Hawks will be in the playoffs as well. But those are my play-in teams: Bulls, Hawks, Raptors, and Heat. I got the Hawks and Raptors coming out of the play-in this year in the East. Now let's go to the top 6 teams. At the 6th seed, Orlando Magic. Okay, now some of you guys are already going to start texting me, Seb, you're stupid. Seb, you're crazy. Seb, what are you doing? Seb this, Seb that. Okay, so I have them finishing 47-35, same as the Bulls. It's going to come down to a tiebreaker, and I think Orlando win this season series over the Bulls. We've been beating them in past years. So, Orlando Magic. Now, maybe this is a shock to everybody. It's a shock to me, too. And probably we are too high. I am putting them probably too high. But this team is on the rise. And I mean very much on the rise. One of the best young cores in the league. And Franz and Paolo Banchero are the face of this franchise. Franz Wagner also on Team Germany like Dennis Schroeder this past summer. They are World Cup champions. And they will come back stronger than expected. This team is going to make some noise with these young players. Suggs, Cole Anthony, Carter Jr., Anthony Black, Jet Howard, our 2 draft picks live this year look promising, are going to show off their talents and show why they are promising players for this franchise. We are one megastar away from being legit contenders. Again, this team will surprise many this year, and they are no worse than a play-in team this year. Just watch them open eyes like they did last year. We almost made the play-in last year, but I think we get past the play-in. We get to the 6th seed. If we stay healthy, we have so many young players. I could just go on and on about them. I know so much about this team, but I'm not going to do that. I don't want to drag you guys on. If you don't believe me, look into our team. People are still counting us out, and I love it. But you guys will see. If this team is able to stay healthy, this team is deadly. We are fast, we are young, and we are hungry. Also, Coach Jamil Mosley, defensive-minded coach. He is smart, intelligent. He knows what he's doing with the ball. He has us on lock, okay? Trust me. So, Orlando Magic at the 6th seed. Going to be the surprise team of the NBA. One of them, at least. Going on to the 5th seed. I got the Philadelphia 76ers coming in at 49-33. Now, this was made before the James Harden news came out about him not showing up to the preseason games or training camp. If Harden and Embiid stay, which I personally don't think that they are going to stay, I think they're going to be moved before the trade deadline or even before the season starts tomorrow. Okay? And James Harden could be moved. But Joel Embiid, I think, will be traded by the trade deadline. But if they stay together, then I have them at the 5th seed. This team is on the downfall. I'm sorry, EJ. And they're facing a rebuild next year. They will be in rebuild next year. They haven't been able to get past the second round of the playoffs for the last 3 years. They have lacked depth heavily on their bench the last 2 years. Daryl Morey is not a good GM. And he's shown it with his draft picks and free agent decisions. The Sixers are going downhill, and they could easily fall to an 8th to 10th seed team in the play-in tournament this year. Lingering the trades. Depending on what happens with their engine players in Harden and Joel Embiid, who James Harden does not want to be there, and Embiid is without a doubt losing time for a championship and losing his patience with this team. He's done all he could do franchise. And I think this will be Joel Embiid's last year as a Sixer. I'm very sorry, EJ. Also, they won't get past the Bucks or the Celtics or even the promising Knicks in the playoffs. The Sixers are on the downfall in the NBA. Going to my 4th seed, I got the New York Knicks, 51-31. Okay, so the Knicks, I mean, they sucked before last year for a while. They're getting stuff turned around. This team shocked a lot of people last year who offered deep playoff run. They have such a strong team in Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, and Dante DiVincenzo, bringing that Villanova connection to the Knicks team. Randall needs to have a bounce back year after selling them in the playoffs. I really do see this team making more noise in this conference and emerging as a favorite to win the East this year. They also have a young core with their depth, and those players, oh man, so promising. RJ Barrett looking like he's going to have a breakout year this year. He performed well on Team USA. Going to my 3rd seed, I got the Boston Celtics. 54-27. Ignore my handwriting. I don't care. The Celtics are going to struggle to begin the year with adding Drew Holiday and Porzingis and losing players like Robert Williams, Grant Williams, and Marcus Smart, which I don't know why they did that. But they will start catching fire towards the playoff push. I think key matchups with teams like the Bucks, Knicks, and Cavs will be the difference between them getting the 1 seed to the 3rd seed in the East. They made a mistake in giving up Smart. And like I said, lost Grant Williams, Robert Williams, Malcolm Brogdon even. And obviously, Smart was the heart and soul of this team. But this team still has major depth. And Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum make this team that championship contender. Can't think of the last time Boston was lower than a 4th seed. Maybe 2016. But, yeah, expect the Celtics to make some noise again. Going on to my 2nd seed. Cleveland Cavaliers coming in at 55-26. So I'm going to put the Cavs at 55-26. Cleveland, Donovan Mitchell is one of the best regular season players, and he has a very nice young core who has showed promise last year as well as Donovan Mitchell did, but they can't get it done in the playoffs. Darius Garland had an amazing year last year. He will back it up with another one. Evan Mobley, this is his make or break here. The Cavs do have depth, and they are young. Imani Bates is a promising rookie. I wanted him in Dynasty so bad, but Jake took him from me, old Cavs fan. But he is the rookie to watch, hands down. Isaac Okoro, I love that guy. He's going to be another good piece a lot this year. And Karis LeVert are my players to watch. Expect the Cavs to be strong this year. And we'll see what they can do in the playoffs. Can Donovan Mitchell finally perform in the playoffs? He's failed to do it on the Jazz, and he's failed to do it on Cleveland. We'll see what he could do. Going to my number 1 seed, Milwaukee Bucks. And I know, this is kind of the obvious. You could kind of predict why I say this if you watch NBA. It's Dame time in Milwaukee. The Dame trade, hands down, was huge. Dame and Giannis alone is just epic to have on that team. Now, yes, losing Drew Holiday was pretty big, and that could see some struggles on the defensive end. But when you look at this team, Giannis signed his contract extension to stay 3 more years, but he wants more championships. And players like Chris Middleton, Bobby Portis, Pat Covington, Brook Lopez, Jay Crowder, and Malik Beasley, a team full of vets and few young players who are 2 to 3 years into the league. This team is built for a win-now mode, and I can tell you this, expect them to be in the finals this year, which brings me to my next point. I got the Bucks making the NBA Finals from the East this year. Dame time, baby. I think Dame time finally the NBA Finals, and him and Giannis, there's no recipe to stop that. One thing that will affect this team will be their injuries. I pray to God this does not happen to them. But these are my Eastern Conference predictions. Bucks, Cavs, Celtics, Knicks, 76ers, and Magic going into the play-in. The Bulls, Hawks, Raptors, and Heat. Hawks and Raptors get out the play-in this year. To my lottery picks, Indiana Pacers, Brooklyn Nets, Detroit Pistons, Charlotte Hornets, and Washington Wizards. And the Milwaukee Bucks go to the NBA Finals. Thank you for joining into my NBA season predictions for the Eastern Conference. I am working hard on the Western Conference. I will be doing that one next. Peace. Go Magic!